So it is an absolutely beautiful morning here in Arkansas. I'm working really hard on camera angle so you can see this river behind me. It's called the White River. Spent the night last night in a buddy's cabin here. It is too cold for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's like 40 degrees or something. I don't know. I know it's under my mark of like 50, 55. So, but I've been watching her come up all morning, and I thought, man, what a good way to start your day. Good way for a good video. I'm sitting on an old concrete picnic table. It's been on this river bank for God knows how long. You are going to hear a lot of shots in the background. No war going on, just a bunch of people connecting with nature, going after the game they like and filling their bellies. So that's your that's your warning. So what's the purpose of the video? You know, it's one of those mornings where you wake up, and me and the oldest boy drove 10 hours yesterday, 3 hours of traffic, just accidents, road construction. Got in here late, had planned on doing our hog trapping stuff that we needed to do, and then head on to Missouri, which is about another 3.5 hours, and we were going to do it. And, it's hard. You push your whole life. You push, and that's just what you do. And it's hard to get out of that mindset. And then I just looked at him and I said, you know what? We ain't got to be nowhere. I said, I'm tired. I was tired before I got here. And we're going to go back and work for a couple hours in the cold. And we're going to get in that warm truck. And I said, I can tell you what that is. That's just like crawling up under them covers and you're going to take a damn nap. I said, I ain't fighting it. I said, we got a cabin here, wood-burning stove. I knew by the time we got the stove going, we probably could have been in Missouri. But anyway, wood-burning stove, and I got an inflatable bed here that I like to use. It's my own. If you ever buy a Sleep Number bed, it'll ruin you. And but I didn't have the energy for that, so I plopped down on an old, imitation leather sofa that's probably had more duck hunters do things on it. You kind of figure that out, I guess. And I was like, man, I'm just going to rack out here. Grabbed a couple blankies out of the truck from when the boys were little. So they're all like little blankies. So I had to get like 3 of them to make one blankie. And that was it. The oldest boy, he was slick. Now, he put on his hunting coveralls. He said, I don't need a blanket. I'm putting on my coveralls. And he laid up on a recliner, and there you go. And I got up, 4 o'clock, put some wood on the stove, and I looked up, and they got a goose, mounted goose coming down off the ceiling. And so I was trying to figure out if it was a dream or if that was just a mounted goose. But I got it all figured out, and I'll clip a little video, and there was like the flickering stove, and I could see the goose, it was kind of crazy. And then it started. The squirrel cage of like all the thoughts. I worked a lot on our 5th book, which is not published yet, in this cabin. And all these thoughts started rolling in, of like things that I wanted to convey and things that I wanted to say and things that I wanted to write. So here comes the video. We have memories that are associative and dissociative. I talked about it in other videos. And things will trigger those memories. And then our brain kind of says, hey, is that good or is that bad? 1991 was a special time in my life. And I'm going to define the 3 versions of special. The first special is not really special. It's more like difficult. A person, if I call somebody special, it could mean they're an a-hole. 91 wasn't like that. 91 was in the middle. There's a second special, which is kind of like, it's just kind of different. Learned a few things, wasn't traumatizing. The third special is, it's just like good stuff, man. Like magical genies and unicorns, and I don't believe in that crap, but you know what I mean? And like my wife, my bride, she's special. The third special, so she's not difficult, she's not in the middle, she's the third. And then you have your associative memories, which is like the gunfire in the background. For me, it doesn't bring back combat feelings. I wasn't ever in combat. It makes me automatically think of last year being here with our friend and him taking my oldest boy duck hunting, and I think ducks are too cute to shoot. And I just remember standing there in the water, like taking all this in, going, wow, this is cold as hell, but this is cool, you know? And so that's an associative memory, and it takes you to a good, happy place. You smile, you feel good. Dissociative clearly is just not good. It's just like in a memory the brain captures, it holds an event in, and it doesn't know what to do with it. It just sits la la land. Part of the job of, I guess, people like me or the experts, you know, our job is to try to get those memories to a place, to a home, to a file folder, some place that you can digest them, you know. And so in the middle of the night last night, I get up. It's what happens when you get old. You get up, and I need a drink. And I didn't drink a lot yesterday. And I have this drink that I drink every day. I make it myself. And I'm kind of a health nut. I really am. And it's kind of a healthy drink. And I go over to this adult version of a sippy cup is what I call it, which goes with me everywhere. And it's got a straw on it. And it's kind of bulletproof at night. You can't really screw that up as far as like spilling it on your face. And I get this straw in my mouth. Take this big drink, and I'm like, man, that feels good. I'm kind of dry. And then I'm like, must be some of my crushed up, sometimes I'll put a crushed up lemon in it. And I get it up in my mouth, and I said, you know, I don't remember lemons being crunchy. And then I get this horrible taste in my mouth. It's just bad. And I go, I have just sucked up into my mouth at 3 o'clock in the morning a ladybug. Some of you may not know it, but ladybugs have clearly changed in our society. They used to be just this ladybug. Now cabins, houses, campers, buildings, it's like this invasion of some other kind of ladybug. Clearly a ladybug that is not our friend. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got a ladybug in my mouth. And I'm like, God dang, boom. Kind of a borderline dissociative associative memory. It takes me back to 1991 when my job was, like I said, it wasn't the first special and it wasn't the third special, it was in the middle. And I remember taking a drink one time out of orange juice on a hot summer day. I was working and I thought it was orange juice pulp. Turned out it was a yellow jacket. It didn't bite me, it sting my tongue or nothing, but I remember that crunchiness. So at 3 o'clock in this morning, my brain says, hey, Chief, you got something crunchy in your mouth, and it associates it with 1991, which is a long time ago because this is 2025. So it's kind of unusual how the brain works like that, you know, how it's trying to connect those dots and prep you up for what's coming. So when you're sitting at a place like this and you hear a gunshot and it takes you back to something, it's not necessarily something to swallow your tongue over. Again, if you're laying on the concrete slab here with your thumb in your mouth like an infant, then you might want to get that checked out. But if it's just trying to connect the dots and make you understand where you're going with things, that's the program. The brain's doing its job. And so that's kind of the definitions of you know, the specials, you know, that the first special, the second special, the third special, the associative, the dissociative memories, you know. So how do we transfer very difficult dissociative memories to a better place? I wrote a story once many years ago called My Full Moon, and it takes time. And I talk about it in that story, that it takes time to transfer those memories. Sometimes you need professional help. Sometimes it's just going, you know what? That moon is not what it used to be. It's a different moon. And there are different moons. And then you go, you know what? That's good stuff. It's a process. It's not an overnight process. For me, probably the next time I suck something up on my straw in my adult sippy cup and it turns out to be something crunchy, well, now it's going to go ladybug and back to the yellow jacket. The ladybug surroundings are different. I'm in a cabin. This is the third special, not the second. Things are good. So was it traumatizing? Did it add to the foundation of that moment of the Yellow Jacket? No, not really. It actually kind of made me laugh, to be honest, because I was like, what are the odds in this cabin of one ladybug going down that little tiny straw, and it just happens to be that drink that I take? Because this morning I'd have dumped the cup out and started all over. So, who am I today? I'm a guy that's got the oldest boy still sleeping in his hunting rig, warm clothes, and I'm fixing to jump on a side-by-side. I might give you some footage of that, head back here to the woods and do a little hog work. I am a guy that's freezing right now, I ain't gonna lie. This concrete slab is, one man once said, don't sit on a cold rock if you got any sense. But I feel very fortunate and blessed. It is so hard to get our brains to get reprogrammed in everything. And for 30 some odd years, I pushed as hard as I could push. I've been retired 6 years almost, and I'm still pushing. Some of it's our nature. Some of it's just how we're wired. I think I'm just wired that way. My daddy was a pusher, and not a dope pusher for some of you that just drifted off there real quick. It's really more just how you're wired. But then you also have to realize that you can choose a different path and just go, you know what? I'm in no hurry today. It'll get done. It's hard, very hard, and I think it's a constant battle. Sorry about that, but I wanted you to see all these geese. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't real expert on birds and junk like that. There's a whole science to how they fly. My buddy was here, he could tell you. And he would say it's not cold today. All right, so who I am today, part 2. I wrote about it. I say that a lot, but I have written a lot. Many years ago, a good friend of mine, his real name was Joe. We all called him Billy. Billy told me one time, very early on in my career, during those second difficult time in my career, which was 6 years. He told me, he said, the best place is between A and B. A is where you're at, B is where you're headed, which could just be a temporary trip, like you're working here and you're going there. That's what he was talking about. He was working in one place and going home. He said the best place is between A and B. He said, because you can't do a damn thing about either one. He's been dead a good while now. But I always remember him telling me that. And I think there's a lot to be said about that. You know, that transitional phase that is frustrating for us, there's some peace in that. It's like me when I get on a plane, I just go to sleep. I can't do nothing about anything. I kind of like it, you know. Let that guy or gal up front running that bird with them sticks and junk. Let them drive it for a while and just let me kick back and snooze. So I'm gonna buzz you around, show you this beautiful place, even though it's freezing cold. And then I gotta put a wiggle in it. It's time to get back to the program. And I may give you some footage later, but I can buzz you around the White River. It's low. Literally the cabin that we're staying in, I mean, it's elevated, but it was almost underwater here recently. And so, crazy junk. So, hang on. Kind of hard to read, but in this old concrete slab, my buddy's family wrote, "Thank you, God." I think I've done other videos on that. It's pretty cool. I like that. There's my fancy camera mount, which was a rock off the river, and then my other phone. And there's our cabin. And there's Big Girl, big 1-ton diesel. And we're hauling some equipment up for our project in Missouri. And that's for our nonprofit. And we surely hope that we can start getting things moving up there. And there's the White River. kind of interesting. Every year, about 3 foot of this bank gets ate away by the river. So probably not in my lifetime, but or in my lifetime, who knows? She might get to the cabin. But yeah, there she is. Beautiful thing. So I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed the video. It's probably long. I didn't even watch the time today because I really just don't care. You know, remember the 3 specials. You know, remember those. I kind of like them. I made that up myself. I'm pretty proud of that. And then remember, you know, that occasionally take a deep breath and just assess the situation and go, you know what? Nah, I'm not really in that big of a hurry. It's healthy that way. Remember the dissociative and associative memories. Remember what the brain is literally trying to help you process and do. And when those associative memories come in, smile. And when them dissociative ones come in they kind of come in like they're like a pissed off, I don't know, yellow jacket, I guess. You know, when they come in kind of hot and heavy like that, go, whoa, wait a second, Chief. Things are different. I'm not there standing in that scene, or that gunshot was not intended for me, or whatever it is. Just tell the brain, say, hey, I appreciate the heads up. Appreciate you looking out for me. But we're not standing in that same scene. That's what I got for you. Hope you all have a wonderful day. We fixing to put a wiggle in it. And I may shoot you some footage of us busting back on a side-by-side, headed back there to 700 acres. Y'all take care.